Do.
Hello everyone, it's all about love. Welcome to It's All About Love. I hope you are all doing well. And today you are going to be talking about Mother Teresa. It's the 18th episode, and I hope you are going to enjoy her life. Because for those who haven't been with us or who didn't watch the episode of Mother Teresa, I would advise you to go back to our previous episodes and you'll see a life, Mother Teresa life, up until 1980s and 1980s. It was when you stopped last time, in the 17th episode. So today we are going to talk about Mother Teresa because in the 17th episode and the last episode we're talking about Brother Andrew. Brother Andrew gave up on the missionaries of charity in the 80s because he felt that he was not worthy for him to be in such a great association because he was having problems with alcohol, and that, according to him and the principles, God's principles, was contaminating him and the association. And so Mother Teresa was not aware initially about his problem, but then she learned about it when Brother Andrew spoke to Mother Teresa, and so Mother Teresa asked the Romanian sisters, and in this sentence, these words, she asked the sisters, and she said this: pray that we do not spoil God's work. Pray to know oneself and not to be untrue to this sense of living. Self-knowledge puts us in our knees. So she also requested the co-workers that they needed to grow in holiness through love for each other and the poor they served, and to forgive and avoid the sharpness of the tongue that hurts. So Mother Teresa was very careful with the way of dealing with the human beings. So she wanted everyone to be holy in her association. Doesn't matter if you were sisters or brothers or co-workers or priests, they all had to be holy in what they were doing, especially towards the poor and the poor. So Mother Teresa was always very careful, and mainly she was mentioned as well that people had to be very careful with their tongue, because sometimes people talk too much and things that are untruth, and sometimes it's better not to say anything than talking too much and say just lies or errors or things that are not they don't do anything towards human beings. So it's a waste of time talking too much sometimes, or generally in general terms. So Mother Teresa was aware of this, and she was always talking to people, to those around her, to be careful with their tongue, to be careful with what they were doing and their thoughts in life, with their behavior. They would have to be role models to the world, especially to the poor of the poor. So in 1987, on the 25th of February 1987, the lay missionaries of charity was approved by the Diocese of Rome. And the movement had started in 1984 in Rome with 4 lay people making private vows in the presence of Mother Teresa. Both married and single had to follow the vow of chastity, poverty, obedience, humility, and free service to the poorest of the poor. This chastity, obedience, humility, they were vows that everyone had to follow in the Mother Teresa Association, the Missionaries of Charity Association, had to follow all these principles: obedience, chastity, humility, poverty, and everyone would have to follow it. Because if they wanted to help the poor, they would had to have this, or otherwise wouldn't be worth it to be involved in such a great association like Missionaries of Charity. So they were to sanctify themselves. These people, the lay people, the Missionaries of Charity, were to sanctify themselves and their own families with praise, adoration, and good works. And they were to associate as well the infinite thought of Jesus on the cross for the love and of souls wherever they were. So always Jesus was always the top, always the main link of everything. They would have to concentrate and focus on Jesus if they wanted to help the poor. That was the main principle of Mother Teresa. For those who know her, and well, it was marvelous for her. So they would have to be infused with this spiritual love. They were also to be an inspiration to all. They would have to be role models, like I said before, to everyone, especially to the local co-worker groups. The model of their life, the source of their inspiration, was the Holy Family of Nazareth. So Mother Teresa really appreciated the family of Mother Nazareth, which was included Joseph, Mary, and Jesus. And so they were the example for the rest of the families in the world. And so these co-workers, everyone that represented families helping the poor had to be like an example as a family of Mother Nazareth to the rest of the world. And that was beautiful. So this movement grew quickly and spread in various countries of the world, because it was a wonderful movement to follow and to do. And so in 1988 in New York, Mother Teresa was again with unhealthy, so it was kind of again with the life, the health deteriorating again, and she underwent surgery to remove a cataract. While still recovering from this operation, an earthquake in the India-Nepal border killed an estimate of 800 people and left many more homeless and without resources. That was a huge concern for Mother Teresa, knowing that many people far away from her, at that instance, when she was in America, but Nepal and India was kind of home for her. Knowing that many people were dying and many were homeless and without resources, for Mother Teresa was a great concern. And so Mother Teresa immediately traveled to that region to assist them. She was not quite concerned with their cataract or health problems. Above all, she was concerned with those who were dying, with those who didn't have resources to live, with those who left families suffering because they were not here anymore, who died. She was really concerned for those more than herself. And that is a wonderful example for all of us to follow. And so shortly after, she flew to South Africa. Mother Teresa was always flying around to many countries, just spreading God's love, God's compassion for the world, for the poor. And in this sense, his poor were not just the ones who didn't have food or drink to food to eat or drink or any water to drink, where those were suffering as well, spiritually, where those were suffering emotionally, where they were, in poor countries or rich countries, all were suffering. And so in that year, Mother Teresa flew to South Africa, a country negatively affected by the consequences of the apartheid procedures. It was kind of difficult living in South Africa at that time. And this was a policy, a social policy which involved political apartheid, it involved political, economical and legal discrimination against people who were not whites. That was kind of difficult for the situation in South Africa. This racial separation was used in that part of the world from 1948 until 1990. And many of you are aware of these problems in South Africa, the apartheid with whites and black people, but Mother Teresa flew specifically to South Africa to help those who needed the most and help as well. Many South Africans were eager to have Mother Teresa there, a presence. They needed someone like her to bring some peace and joy to their people who were living on gang conflict, on political fights, and so many other issues and problems. And in a speech when she got there and she was asked to speak in front of many people, to TV and radio and newspapers and so many people, Mother Teresa told the people that she did not know what apartheid was, or if something like that existed. She didn't know that, and I completely believe it, because Mother Teresa was so focused in love, just in love, and the focus in the poor and people who really needed help. And she didn't have much time to understand about the things of politics or social problems sometimes that were not to help people that really was suffering. And so, of course, she understood that these people with these issues, social issues, they were suffering. That's why she went there. Wherever they were suffering around the world, she would go there. And so she really didn't know what was this apartheid, or if something like that existed. To her, and in God's eyes, everyone was equal. To her, everyone was equal. And she said these words: white, black, green, yellow, whatever, you are all children of God. She told them, these people, listening to her and watching her, created for greater things, to love and to be loved. There was no color for her, nor for God. Everyone was the same. And this is always the thing. Everyone is the same. There is no color for God. There is no color for human beings, because to God, everyone is the same. And to Mother Teresa, everyone was the same. And so you created for greater things. And those things were to love and to be loved. This is why sometimes we hear these words, and I tend to say as well myself that we have a purpose in this life. God gave us a purpose in this life, and this was the greatest purpose. And what was this purpose? The main purpose was to love and to be loved. This is our main purpose. And Mother Teresa knew that. And many of us know that our main purpose is to love and to be loved. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt. But at the time of her visit in South Africa, she opened a house, and gradually more were opened. She had to go there to begin or to open houses, and she had to start it one, and then after that more more houses were created by the association Missionaries of Charity, and mainly by her. And at the end, she left Mother Teresa left some peace, joy, and hope in their hearts, in South Africans' hearts. It was beautiful. And so, in December of that year, Mother Teresa flew to Moscow and to Russia to sign an agreement for a new foundation. Again, she was always traveling, and the consent was given for 4 sisters to work in that city. From Moscow, she boarded a plane to Armenia, where in that same month an earthquake had killed an estimated 55,000 people, so many people, and I believe she was suffering so much because so many people had died. Armenia, a country that she knew so well, because she knew so well. It was her home country. Armenia was her home country. Albania, very close to her origins, Armenia. So when that same month, an earthquake had killed an estimated 55,000 people in that country. More than 10,000 people were in hospitals, and many more homeless. And that was not so good. Many people were suffering, and Mother Teresa was completely concerned for that. And the day she arrived to that country, she offered relief and rehabilitation. She visited a hospital packed with the children, spent time with each child, and prayed over them. She prayed over everyone, and everyone loved her presence. Everyone loved Mother Teresa. She was a source of renewed hope. Everyone loved her. They would see her as a holy person around the world. She was well known. She was famous. She was kind of a celebrity, but she didn't pay attention to those names. She was doing her job, her work, just looking after those in need, always from one side to another, one place to another. That was incredible. She signed an agreement relating to the work of Missionaries of Charity, and later she brought a few sisters and remained there long enough to settle them. Then she departed. Well, each time she opened a house in a country, she would leave there a few sisters, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 sisters in that place, in the country, and then she departed because she was always needed around the world. That was beautiful. So in that year, an appeal launched by the Daily and Sunday Mirror raised nearly 3,000 or 300,000 for the lonely and homeless of London. With that money, in 1993, Mother Teresa opened a 35-room hostel for the homeless in Southwark in London. She knew that everywhere, in every country, people were suffering. There was always poverty. Doesn't matter if these countries were considered rich or poor, each country had a great number of poverty, wherever materially, or spiritually, or missionally. And she was always on a hurry to help everyone. Wonderful. So in 1989, Mother Teresa and her sisters visited countries such as Hungary, Peru, Switzerland, and Albania, her home country. Well, Armenia was near around. She knew about that very well. But she went to visit in 1989 Albania. When she visited the Albania, a film, Mother Teresa, was being shown for the first time in there and around the world. And in the same year, in 1989, the missionaries' fathers opened a main house in Tijuana, in Mexico, for fathers or priests who, poor or white, wanted to come and volunteer. Always opening houses for people who wanted to help or volunteer, the poor of the poor. So meanwhile, Mother Teresa no longer had the same degree of physical strength. Again, physical health was weakened and was very, very fragile health, and so she used it to. It was in a level that she didn't have a physical strength that she used to have the previous years. It was fragile, and due to a busy schedule, she was feeling tired, and throughout September she experienced nausea, high fever, and pain in her stomach and heart. And she was admitted to a nursing home in Calcutta in 1989 with a blockage in her heart functioning on only one valve. Because if you go watch the previous episodes, you know that Mother Teresa had been suffering for many years of the heart. So and she was suffering, and this time she had a blockage in her heart. One valve was functioning. It was not enough for her. That's why she was feeling tired. She was feeling more fragile than before the previous years. Apparently, malaria parasites had contributed to her illness, because she was always around people with certain issues, health issues, whether lepra, malaria, or anything, and of course she would get something from it. And apparently malaria parasites have contributed to that illness, and visitors and messages of sympathy were coming from all around the world. Pope John II at that time sent her a message of personal concern to Mother Teresa, and she responded to Pope II. She responded, "I'm offering all for you." I'm offering what? A suffering, because she was suffering. I'm offering all my suffering for you, and for God, because God knew everything, what she was suffering. So prayers were coming from everywhere for the restoration of her health. Everyone was praying for her around the world for her health to improve, and it was a season of sadness, because Mother Teresa was seen around the world as this holy person, as it was so important, so vital importance, so vital to the world, and no one wanted her to die or to get sick. Everyone wanted her to be in health and to continue doing her job. But look, like everyone, no one lives forever. And looks like many people want her to live forever. And who didn't want that? Everyone wanted, but we have to be realistic. No one can live forever. And so everyone were praying for her to continue, and for her health to continue working and to going around, because that gave such a joy to everyone around the world. So prayers were coming, like I said, from everywhere around the world for the restoration of her health. So much so that one day she said, "My suffering has brought all the world to prayer." And she really knew that everyone was praying for her. And she really wanted people to pray, not just for her, but for the world, to pray to God. She wanted to see people connecting with God. And that was so important for her, to Mother Teresa. Then Mother Teresa was fitted with a temporary external pacemaker to control an irregular heartbeat that she had. And at the times the condition improved. At others she was in pain and discomfort. as she improved, she was released from the nursing home. And however, after a few weeks, well, she suffered from severe dizziness and she had to return to the nursing home. At this time, Mother Teresa had an operation to fit a more permanent pacemaker. And then she was frequently in and out of the hospital because of her poor health. Well, many things were happening for Mother Teresa at that time. But in March in 1990, Yasser Arafat, he lived from 1929 up until 2004, it was the president of the Palestine Liberation Organization, visited Mother Teresa's house in Calcutta. And Yasser Arafat invited Mother Teresa to the Holy Land and asked her to open Dead with Dignity homes in Bethlehem and Jerusalem, and promised her US £50,000 for her work. Well, that was beautiful. Everyone going to her and her going to others, always in connection, and that was a beautiful example for everyone to follow. But due to her advanced age and debilitated health, in April of the same year, Mother Teresa submitted her resignation to Pope John II as Superior General of the Missionaries of Charity. She didn't want anymore to have this huge role for the mission, for the congregation, for the association. She felt that due to her health, she was not capable to continue with so much rules or so much work, and she didn't feel good enough to do what she was doing like she had been doing before in previous years. And so in her resignation, Mother Teresa wrote that she was happy to give it to younger hands with spiritual preparation and concentration on humility in the word of action. She wanted younger people to do a job because they were stronger, but they would have to deal with this job in humility. According to her, to Mother Teresa, the person who was to replace her had to have spiritual preparation, no doubt about it, because Mother Teresa also had spiritual preparation, and the many people in this association, Missionaries of Charity, had a special preparation, and a special concentration had to go to the humility. They have to be humble, always humble. And in words and action, always in words and action, they had to be humble to follow Mother Teresa, because Mother Teresa was the epitome of humility and generosity. There was no doubt about that, and so she wanted someone to be like her or similar to her. And so in recognition of her physical condition, John II reluctantly accepted her resignation, and many people did not want it. Many people were refusing. They didn't want Mother Teresa to give up, because she was the eyes of the association. She was everything. She was the life of the association. If she left, then the association would die or would have no name to them. And so Mother Teresa was vital for the association. That's why many people didn't want her to give up or to leave. To them, she was the founder, the essence, the light of the society, and the eternal mother of the society. She had previously said that although she was the founder of the society, it was not hers, nor the sisters', but it belonged to God. This association that she had created belonged to God, because in her eyes, God opened that association for her, opened the doors for her to create this association. If it was not for God, she would never open an association a huge situation like that. So, however, to many, her presence alone was enough to turn around many people's minds and hearts, and consequently a change of behavior. For many people, her presence was enough to change many people's minds and behaviors and hearts. That was incredible. So, if she left, the society would never be the same. Would never be the same. So soon after, Mother Teresa wrote a letter to the entire family, to the sisters, to the brothers, to the fathers, to the priests, to the co-workers. And the aim was to spiritually prepare them to, after her leaving from this world, she wanted to prepare them for when she left, people would be prepared to understand the living and to understand that they would have to continue her works, to continue doing something for the poor in this world. It was a letter of acceptance and great gratitude for their service to the poor. They had to remain in the spirit that she had given them from the start. However, at the time of the election in 1990, to the amazement of many, Mother Teresa was elected again. Mother Teresa was elected again. Wow, to the surprise of many. Because really, Pope II had authorized her resignation. Many people, didn't want a resignation. And some people probably were thinking that she was really to leave the association. But in the end, she was again nominated. She was again elected. And she accepted her re-election. Mother Teresa accepted her election. She did so because of the prayers and the loving concern of the sisters and the poor. But above all, in obedience to God's will. I believe that she probably thought that if she was re-elected again in 1990s, in spite of her poor health, it was because probably it was the will of God. I'm thinking probably no, for sure it was the belief of God. I believe that she thought for sure is the belief of God that I'll continue, in spite of my poor health, to conduct and to be a Mother Superior of this huge association. And in 1990 and in 1991, Mother Teresa opened many foundations in the communist countries. Between her resignation and the re-election, she had opened the first soup kitchen in Budapest. Oh, Hungary. And Budapest and Hungary. Wonderful. And afterwards she traveled to Slovakia. And from there she went to other areas where she was needed. From there she went to other areas. And in April 1990 she went to Bucharest in Romania and to assist thousands of children. So many children who were suffering with malnutrition, with human immunodeficient virus, and physical and mental disorders. Countless lived and died in houses and orphanages without minimal care or medical attention. So many people who did not have any care. They were dying in these houses, in orphanages. They didn't have really medical attention. And the missions of Charity set up a children's home. They really doing hard work. They were also told by the Romanian government that they could take 30 children from one orphanage where 180 children had died during the previous winter. The sisters took 60 and provided them with clothes, food, and love. Wonderful. That's beautiful. Well. So much she did. We all know that she did so much. But the year 1990, and there were 3,068 professed sisters, 454 novices, and 140 candidates. Many novitiates spread in different countries around the world, and the sisters have over 400 houses in over 19 countries. 90 countries. The brother had novitiates also in other countries spread around the world. They have 380 professed in 82 communities in 26 countries. But that year, however, there were around 3 million co-workers struggling to do small things with great love throughout the world. Wonderful. So much to say about Mother Theresa. So in March 1991, after returning from Cambodia and Rome, Mother Theresa returned to Albania, her home country, and opened 2 houses for the private sick people in Tirana, and another in Shkodër for abandoned children with physical and mental abnormalities. Well, in addition, she also opened 6 churches and 1 temple for Muslims. Well, she was always in a go. And afterwards she returned to Calcutta. After Albania, she returned to Calcutta, and in spite of bad cough, she went back to Romania, where the Missionaries of Charity had already 3 new houses for special needs children. Well, always on a go. In spite of her health, of her poor health, the need for her presence was overwhelming for around the world. She was being called from around the world. The invitations she was receiving from were focused on a variety of matters, such as the opening of new houses, churches, and sisters' vinyl vows. Wow, wow, wow. And although she was excited, she was also aware that due to her busy schedule, she could not satisfy their requests straight away. They would have to wait for her availability. Always. Always. Because she had so much to do. They would have to wait for her. And it was sad because she would like to be in everywhere. Because they needed her help. She really wanted to help, but she couldn't do everything. And so people had to wait. Well. And so I hope for now you took something from here today, and we are finalizing this episode. Hope you enjoyed some of this conversation of Mother Theresa, because it's an incredible story of her to us. It's a great legacy for us to follow, and well, at least if you took something from it, will be wonderful for you and for all of us. And so for now, thank you for everything, for listening, for watching, and see you soon. Thank you.